Okay, guys, so we're back with another video, and this gentleman here, I just recently started watching. Um, he has some really good content. Um, the whole purpose, again, that I display is not about where you get the information from. It's just the information. The whole point is the message. I don't care how many people hears or sees, as long as the message get across. So if I have to big up someone else's channel or someone else that promoted or showed it first, that's what I'll do. You always want to give credit to the people that did it first, or that took their time to do it. So you never want to take anything from anyone that took their energy and their time to do something. So that's, again, like I always start my videos with, I'll leave a link in the description for the original video, but that I'm just showing these videos as a means to make a point. So I'm not going to show this entire video, but let's just give a quick watch.
Now, do you see how they twist that around, turn that around? I keep telling y'all, the physical shackles ain't on you, it's the mental shackles. And when they control you here, everything below comes with it. Pay close attention. Yeah, hey, this is what Papa does. I want to show y'all just close attention. You might learn something. Check this out.
Mr. Jones owned a cotton plantation and many slaves. One day he was talking to the owner of the plantation next to his, and Mr. Jones was lamenting the fact that times were tough. He was having to work his slaves harder than ever, and was having trouble with some of them being disobedient or trying to run away. The other plantation owner said he knew someone who could help.
Day 1.
One day, Mr. Jones called his slaves together so a man named Mr. Smith could talk to them. Before beginning, Mr. Smith whispered to Mr. Jones, "Whatever I say, do not contradict me or interfere, and I promise you your slave troubles will end." "My name is Mr. Smith," he said to the slaves, "and this may be the happiest day of your lives. From today forward, you will no longer be slaves, but free men." Mr. Jones was so shocked he started to step forward, but Mr. Smith gestured for him to remain silent. He did, only because the other plantation owner had spoken so highly of Mr. Smith's skills. "You are no longer the property of Mr. Jones," Mr. Smith continued. "You are free. No more would you be forced to labor for the benefit of Mr. Jones. Now you can work for yourselves." Now the slaves were all murmuring and looking at each other. Many were smiling, many were looking puzzled. "In fact, you are now free to leave the plantation whenever you want," Mr. Smith said. "However, since we are surrounded by other plantations, if you leave, some other plantation owner will likely claim you as his own the moment you set foot on his property. So I urge you not to risk your newfound freedom by doing something so foolish. Instead, I suggest that you stay here, no longer as slaves, but as willing participants and part owners of this plantation. Yes, this is now your plantation." Mr. Jones bit his tongue to keep from objecting. "For now, we might as well leave Mr. Jones in charge," said Mr. Smith, "since he is the only one with any experience at running a plantation, which is quite a complicated thing to manage. But he will no longer be your master, but just another worker on the plantation. In fact, he will now be using his organizational and management skills to serve you."
Now, do you see how they twist that around, turn that around?
"Whatever problems you may have had with him before, you are now all equals, and you need each other to make this work. If we all cooperate and work together, we can all reap the benefits together. In honor of this happy occasion, I present you this new symbol of togetherness and cooperation, this flag, which shall be the emblem of the new, free Jones plantation." He held up the new flag, but most of those listening were still too amazed to respond. "And this shall be our motto," Mr. Smith announced. "We work together as free men for our mutual benefit, pledging our allegiance to the Jones Plantation, which stands for prosperity, liberty, and justice for all. To celebrate, everyone has the rest of the day off. Enjoy your freedom, do as you please, and be back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, so that we may begin work on this great and noble new endeavor as equal free men." Finally convinced that Mr. Smith was serious, the former slaves applauded and cheered. The former slaves applauded and cheered. The former slaves applauded and cheered.
Day 2.
"We all want this plantation to do well," Mr. Smith said at the beginning of the next meeting, "so we can all share in the benefits. We all know that it takes a lot of effort to make a cotton plantation work. Just because you're all free doesn't mean you can stop working. In fact, since you're now working for yourselves, I expect you to work even harder than ever before, but now with pride and joy, knowing that you're working for yourselves.
Very important what he just said, and I had to chime in on this for 1 second. This is you working people, the working class people. Like I tell y'all, no matter how much money the government has, they still need people to build up America. But now they have AI. And I told y'all, once AI hit, it's going to take all y'all jobs. Once AI hit, they're going to be building up America for them.
What he means by AI is artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is basically the robots and things of that nature.
Have no place in this society, period. And it don't matter what color you are. So yeah, they'll give.
So yeah, that was just, again, to prove a point. And he makes some very, very great points after this. Again, I'm not going to play the full video. Please go visit his pages. Go check him out. Anyone that's knowledgeable at this point, I suggest just giving them a listen to. But yeah, I just wanted to play that video because it ties into the history and the mental abuse and the mental control that has been played upon us, especially when it comes to the laws, the rules, the regulations, the courts, the judges, all those things that we think are there for certain reasons really are not. And because they have names and we don't know the definitions to them, the actual definitions, then, we assume that they are what people tell us they are. And they're not. Get you a Black's Law Dictionary. If you don't have a copy, I can send you 2 versions, the 4th and the 10th edition. So yeah, there's no reason why you shouldn't have access to this information. It's free. It's out there. Everyone has access to it. So I encourage you to go and look. Until next time, thank you guys for watching. Again, go and visit this video.